Let me emphasize that the macroeconomic figures from last year, although real on the surface, encouraging as well, we are aware that inflation has dropped from a peak in the 20s to single digits. We are aware that government is now touting it as its own successes. But instead of welcoming, we must ask, stability for whom and at what long-term costs? Think of economic policy as a bridging connecting the state to its citizens. On one side of that bridge are the conference rooms in Accra, where ministers display tidy charts and quote IMF reports. On the other side are the markets of Efutu, the busy streets of Tamale, and the households of Takwa, where Ghanaians experience the economy not as statistics, but as struggles with food prices, utility bills, and the search for decent work. In 2025, that bridge broke. Inflation fell on paper, but the cost of a simple meal remained beyond reach for many families. Growth accelerated in the aggregate, but around 1.25 million young people were left outside employment, education, or training. A generation waiting on the margins. Macroeconomic stability improved, yet an estimated majority of water bodies are polluted, and energy sector debt still sits in the billions of dollars. This gap has a clear cost. The current stabilization rests heavily on the tight IMF conditions, new levies imposed on already burdened citizens, and continued dependence on the same narrow export of gold and cocoa. Now, instead of introducing reforms in the energy sector, they decided to impose levies. Remember that they said e-levy was bad and they were going to scrap it. They were going to outlaw it. And Ghanaians celebrated them when they repealed the e-levy. But let's look at some numbers. They took away e-levy, but utility tariffs alone, so far, we have seen an excess of 27%. Electricity tariffs, under Akufo-Addo, where we were paying e-levy at 1.5%. And they were telling us, the NDC told us that it is too much. Today, electricity tariffs have gone up in excess of 27%. That is NDC hypocrisy for you. They also came to Parliament in the dead of night to introduce the Dumso levy, which upon our scrutiny, they decided to suspend it. But again, in the dead of night, they started the implementation. So Ghanaians are being burdened with all these levies, yet they claim that they are a caring government.